Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here and welcome back to the railway, and welcome back to, well, it's not a review per se because I don't know if I can call looking at old locomotives like this a review, but it's certainly a look at the beautiful and popular Lord Westwood locomotive, which is a special limited edition model which you guys see every Christmas because I tend to use it as the Christmas train for obvious reasons. But yeah, this was, as I say, a special limited edition model which was created by Triang for only 2 years, 1973 and 1974, and as you can probably tell by the general shape of it, it's based on Collett's Hall class, as you can see, and as you might also be able to tell, it was a fictitious locomotive created by Hornby to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Rovex Plastics. And it was actually named Lord Westwood, as you can see, after the chairman of the company at the time, who was Mr. Westwood. And apparently the running number here, as you can see, 255, was apparently the old Rovex telephone number, so I suppose that was a little bit of a nod to those who would have worked there. Quite interestingly, you know, they would all have known that. And also, despite 1970s being mostly Hornby, you know, we can call it Hornby, you still got the Triang written on the underside of the tender there, and I'm not sure if you have on the locomotive too. Yeah, it's just Triang Hornby on the loco, but yep, the tender is just Triang, so I don't know whether that was a nod or not, yeah. So yeah, it's a lovely engine. I haven't got a box for it unfortunately, but as you can see it's in absolutely mint condition, and I will show you the tender first. There you go. A lovely tender with the running number on it there, and I will show that to you in a little more detail. And here's the Hall class locomotive, which is in fact identical to the regular Hall class that Hornby were producing at the time, except for of course the livery. So as you can see there, it's very, very similar to Albert Hall or Hagley Hall or the likes of those. So yeah, let's put it up onto the white background then, and I'll give you a bit of a closer look at her. Okay, so there she is, the very unique but very beautiful Lord Westwood up against the white background there. And I'm aware that I've looked at, you know, the regular Hall class, which is very similar to this. So I will try and keep this little overview as brief as possible, but I will show you the sort of highlights of the various detail. And the first thing you'll notice is the livery, of course, and it's got this sort of beautiful, sort of unrealistic red, but you can tell that it's fictional as a result of that, I suppose. But it's also got this very, very characteristic white stripe, which goes all over the boiler there, all on the handrail, of course, over the wheel arches, and even on the steam chest, as you can see, or valve chest. And I believe Hornby made a very similar 040 to complement this logo in the same livery. And I can't remember whether it was Nelly or something like that, but it was very similar, and it had a similar running number as well, I think. But yeah, the livery is definitely a key characteristic, but you know, there's plenty of detail there as well, not so much separately fitted, but in terms of moulded detail, we've got plenty of rivets, especially on the buffer beams and around that area, and the smoke box is fairly well riveted as well. And back towards the cab, there's quite a lot of moulded and painted detail. As you can see, the windows are rimmed with the white stripes, and around the side of the cab you've got plenty of rivets there, but no running number, which is strange. It is just on the tender that we have the running number. But as you can see, the Lord Westwood nameplate there is very, very nicely applied. It's very clear actually for the age, I would say. And also you can see the plastic, it is just plastic and moulded, but you can see it's the reversing rod there, with a little bit of pipe work around it too, which is nice. But there are a few separately fitted and separately painted parts. First of all, you can see how we've got the copper chimney, as well as the brass whistles there, which appear to be separately fitted, of course. And then you've got the sort of safety valves in there as well, which are not separately fitted, but separately painted in that sort of lovely silver. And if we take a look inside the cab, you can see there is a driver in there. I might remove him one day, I might not, because of course they wouldn't have originally had them in there. But he's not doing any harm, is he? But as you can see, there is a little bit of cab detail, which is pretty nice. But as you can also see, it's not painted or anything like that, so it is fairly simple. But also in the cab you have got this sort of metal rail which goes up along the back of the cab, which is quite a nice separately fitted touch as well. If we look on the tender, as you can see, it's decked out with very much the same livery, with that sort of blood red body and the white stripe, of course, and also the running number is in the same white text, 255, as you can see. But generally the tender is really well riveted. There's plenty of rivets on the tender, probably as many as you'd expect on a modern locomotive. But that's really nice, and the undercarriage too is fairly well detailed as well, and you've also got the realistic chuffing sound on this tender, which is a nice touch as well. If we take a look on the top, you can see there is some quite realistic coal, and it's not too unlike the railroad coal that we see today, so you know that means it's survived 30-40 years at least. which is great. And around the back of the tender there's also a lot of moulded detail, including lamp irons, plenty of rivets, and of course separately fitted turned metal buffers, which is great. So in general, for the age, the model is really well detailed. I suppose it would be top of the game for the 1970s, with plenty of separately fitted parts, but not so much that it's going to, you know, get broken when the kids open it on Christmas morning or whatever. And also on that note, it's a perfect Christmas loco, as I found, you know, in my Christmas videos, which is of course made all the more special by the whole Triang anniversary affair. So yeah, that's Lord Westwood. I suppose the only thing to do now is get her down onto the tracks, and I'll show you how she runs. Okay, so there's Lord Westwood then down on the tracks, looking very, very smart as always, and I'll get her running in just a second for you. But first of all, I'll show you what she's going to be pulling, and that's a medium-sized rake of Great Western coaches, 5 of those, including a restaurant car in the middle, so hopefully they'll look quite smart, being pulled by the beautiful Lord Westwood. On the other track, I've got the County of Devon, which is another, this time very real, Great Western locomotive, running number 3835, and she's pulling some, you know, just a small rake of freight really. Of course she's strictly speaking a passenger locomotive, but I thought I would have some freight on the other line, so hopefully she'll look nice with those. We'll get her running in a moment. But first a little bit of performance test from Lord Westwood. First of all, she's running an XO3 motor, which as you know are very robust and very solid, and of course she's got these plated wheels, which are a little bit bad for traction, but hopefully 5 coaches should be alright for us. So yeah, let's give her a little bit of juice anyway and see how she does at slow speeds, which is of course something the XO3 is not great at, but we'll see. As you can see, this one's not bad, and she's actually not as noisy as most. Oops, there we go. Let me bring her back into shot. So as you can see, a little bit rough at slow speeds, but that's absolutely to be expected. And she's probably a little bit above average there, as you can see. Not bad at slow speeds at all. There we go. Alright, let's keep her reversing then, and pick up those coaches. Ready? There we go. And of course she'll start running a bit better once I get her up to speed. So yep, let's do that now actually. Let's get her up to a good medium. Well, let's give her a bit of an express passenger speed, shall we? And then she'll be happy. So let's see if she'll manage. A little bit of wheel slip there, but no problem overall. And let's get the county class up and running as well then, shall we? Here she goes, with her nice little freight train. I'll give her a little bit of reasonable speed as well. There we go. And let's watch them both go together, shall we? As you can hear, that chuffing sound's working well. The county class there, very smooth. Completely different really to Lord Westwood, but I suppose she's still a Great Western loco, so it still sort of works. Alright, so now I'll share with you the ratings that I gave to the Lord Westwood, and of course I should point out that these ratings aren't going to be relative to modern locomotives because of course they're just a different kettle of fish. But anyway, detail, 8 out of 10. As I said earlier, the model has probably detail that is superior to most other models of that period, so really, really good detail there. Performance, of course, you've got an XO3 in there, so they're always really good. 9 out of 10, plenty of weight as well, of course. Character, 10 out of 10. It's a completely unique locomotive, so of course it is busting full of character. And of course the story behind it adds to that character as well. Also build quality, 10 out of 10, you really can't fault it, as with most Triang Hornby stuff. It really is just the best build quality ever, so yeah, can't fault that. Value, because these were limited edition and they're only around for 2 years, they do tend to cost a little bit more than other old locos do, and especially if they're in really good condition. But they start at about £30, and you can pay anything up to, you know, 80 or 90 if they're in a box. So still not brilliant value, but still not bad compared with modern locos. And so overall, 8 out of 10. A really beautiful loco, covered with character, and really, really nicely done by Triang and Hornby there. So yeah, please enjoy her for a little bit longer while I get some more shots of her on the layout. Yep, two very happy runners. I hope you like them, of course. If there's ever any locos you'd like to see, do let me know, because I'm happy to take requests as always. Alright then everybody, well that should just about do it for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing these lovely locos. I've tried to do a little bit of everything today with a modern loco and an older loco, just so that everybody's happy. But if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to leave a like or even a comment on it, because I do love to get your feedback as always. And you can also check out the Facebook or Twitter pages if you want to, and that's at facebook.com/samstrains or twitter.com/samstrains, and it would be lovely to see you on there. But for now everybody, a big thank you to you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all very soon. Cheers everybody.